Watch who?
Hello.
And welcome to Watch Who, a Doctor Who podcast. I'm Mark.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm a Doctor Who fan.
And I'm new to watching Who.
Watching for the very first time.
Very first time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. Charles Dickens can't make it tonight, so we're here instead. Let's do a little chat to everybody. Welcome. Here we are in the theatre. Glad you could all join us.
I've dressed for the occasion. Mark's just wearing a jumper.
Yes. We're all dressed up in you are, in your Victorian finery. And it feels a bit weird to be talking about like a Christmassy episode.
Yeah, although I didn't think of it as a Christmassy episode, but yeah, you're right. It is a Christmassy episode.
Well, it's set at Christmas.
You're right. I just didn't think of it as one.
First Christmas, not Christmas special.
I think the only sort of Christmas reference is that it's at the start. That's the one he's reading.
Yeah, but I think it's still supposed to be Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I
just thought he was on a tour of the book.
No, he says Merry Christmas everyone at the end.
Does he?
Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. It's the Unquiet Dead this week. We are making our way through series 1. And previously on Doctor Who, we met Rose and the 9th Doctor, another Doctor. You didn't like End of the World as much last time.
No.
It was out in space, and you were more interested in the sort of last of the Time War Lords Time War aspect, which is a sort of bit of a arc that's going on throughout this series.
So I spotted.
Yes, yeah. So that's something to keep an eye on. We haven't really had that in Classic very much, or not to this extent, really. But a little update before we start.
Yeah, go for it.
The Unquiet Dead. Original Neighbours guy is back. I didn't realise. No, well, I had him blocked, but he's sort of unblocked and managed to get a message through to me. Anyway, this is what he said. Hey, Mark, did you still want to trade? I have up to 1995 at the minute. I have video proof, but it's not letting me send. Let me know.
Would you like 95 Neighbours, Mark?
Do you know, I would absolutely love 95 Neighbours, but I do not have the strength to be trading VHS and sending them over to Australia and doing all of that kind of stuff. I don't have actually that much new stuff to send. But while we're talking about Neighbours, I still haven't sent that hard drive off to that guy.
Mark!
Because I haven't had time. I've been so busy. I haven't had time to do it, genuinely.
Judge. That's what we're doing. We are judging you.
I feel terrible.
Everybody judge Mark.
It's going to be like a year coming up soon. Well,
you are Bad Neighbours guy. You are the big version of Bad Neighbours guy.
I am Bad Neighbours guy, but I've got Real Neighbours guy. I'm stuck in between Neighbours guys at the moment.
You are the UK Bad Neighbours guy.
Maybe I should
poor guy could have been sending it to other people to get his hard drive filled, and it stuck with you for a year.
Maybe I should get that Neighbours guy and the other Neighbours guy to talk to each other.
No. Don't inflict your Bad Neighbours guy on other Neighbours guy because you're a Bad Neighbours guy.
Anyway, that's what's happening, everybody. Not a lot. I just can't cope with Neighbours right now. And it's finishing again soon. Oh my God.
I'm making Mark watch Severance at the minute.
Yes, Severance. Has everybody... Oh my God. I've just stepped on something really sharp. Sorry. Oh my God. What is it?
We're keeping this in.
Sorry, I just moved my foot. Something really sharp just went in my foot. It felt like a pin. I don't know where it is. I'm scared to put my foot on the ground. Oh, that was really sharp. Sorry.
Have a look.
I can't see anything.
In your foot?
Oh, probably. Well, I can stay there for now. I can't deal with this. Anyway, you were saying about Severance.
Yeah, I've made you watch Severance. I get like little updates from Mark, which is quite fun. But I can't say anything because I've finished. I'm up to end of season 2. Mark has just finished season 1, started season 2 now. But I can't really say anything because part of the joy is what's coming next. It's kind of like Doctor Who, but you really can't say it.
No, it's very good. It's very good. I'm sure lots of people are watching it. There's a bit of a trend here, though, because I always end up getting another streaming platform because you recommend You're like, watch this, because I would never have even ever watched any of Netflix ever if you were like, oh, you should get the Netflix The Crown. It's really great.
I was like, you'd love The Crown.
The only reason I got Netflix in the first place ever is because you said watch The Crown, and then I ended up watching all these other shows and getting Netflix. And now I've got Apple TV because you were saying about Severance, and I had to have season 2 straight away.
Yeah, exactly. I got him a DVD of it for his birthday, but knowing full well that he'd end up getting the streaming because of what the cliffhangers are.
And I got Disney Plus because of Only Murders in the Building. You got me into watching that.
I made you watch Only Murders, yeah. And you ended up to go home and get that, sorry.
Although I suppose it balances out because you've watched all of Doctor Who. So
yeah, there we are.
It works out. Anyway, we should talk about Unquiet Dead. Actually, we haven't talked about that much. The 45-minute format. How are you finding that?
Good question, Mark. Good question. Fine, I think. The first episode, absolutely no problem. Easy. Second episode was a struggle. But I think I've talked about enough of that this one was fine.
I mean, I suppose it's different because before it was like 2 45-minute episodes for a whole story. Here we've got everything in. I don't know. So I just wondered at your viewing habits. If you like, obviously you just sit and watch the whole thing, and it's 45 minutes. You can't really break unless you.
Yeah, it's the 45 minutes is fine, and like you say, I think it's just because it's like the one at the minute.
Okay, great. Just wanted to check in on that.
The difference being the second one was hard.
Well, so that's more the story. Yeah, that's more the story.
The story makes a difference. This one had a really clear beginning, middle, and end. You felt where that was. You felt where, we have our beginning where we introduce the characters, we get introduced to the plot, meet all the different, we get set up in what's the story, what's this about. The middle where the doctor comes and like, what's going on? And we sort of all get introduced to how they're figuring it out. And then the conclusion of where they're trying to like fix it. It was about 20 minutes each? Not 20 minutes each, 15 minutes each. Sorry, my maths is off. 15 minutes each. That works out quite well.
Well, it works really well. And this is written by Mark Gatiss.
Is it? I can see that. Now you've said that, I can completely see it.
So, yeah, I mean, all that work on Probe and being in Probe and writing all the Devil and Winterfell.
This is completely that. No, now you've said that, I can, because actually, there was elements of this where I was like, it didn't feel like a Russell T Davies story. And now you've said that, that makes complete sense. I never look. You know me, I'm useless. I don't look at anything. Because
in these series, I mean, Russell T Davies always writes, the majority, or the showrunner writes the majority, but then you get a few episodes here and there where it is other people. And Mark Gatiss is the first in New Who to have a script. I suppose he's had a lot of experience by now. He's done all his other stuff. He's way off from Probe. It's been a good few years since Probe and all of that when he was starting out. And the Victorian sort of ghost story thing is very much his thing. He still does, I think on BBC4, he still does like a ghost story at Christmas.
That absolutely makes sense. That's not to criticise him, just I can completely see that he wrote this story.
Mm. And it's directed by Euros Lyn, who directs quite a few of the new series. I've met him. You weren't at the gate when they came to film Kiri, that ITV drama, were you?
I don't think so.
With it's got Sarah Lancashire in it. She wasn't actually there then. They literally came in once to do they hired out the fire exit.
No,
right?
I wasn't.
We had this big fire exit, and they hired that out and they turned it into an office.
Well, the one in the back stairs.
The back stairs, they turned that into an office location.
The exit.
The fire exit.
Right.
As you came out the theatre down the stairs, that room.
Yeah.
They wanted that as an office for some reason. That's what they used. They obviously used the church bit as well. But anyway, this was being hired out at work, and the usual thing, they come and do a recce and everything.
How did they make the fire exit an office? I'm going to have to go back and look at it.
Like a church, it was supposed to be like a church office. It's set in a church because there was like a choir upstairs. They were filming the choir upstairs as like a service, and then I've actually seen it. It's on ITV. It was quite a big drama at the time. Kiri.
Yeah. Kiri.
Kiri, it's called. Yeah.
Kiri.
Kirr. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, the point was, obviously I knew Euros Lyn from directing such classics as The Unquiet Dead from Doctor Who. Anyway, they were coming in to do a recce before, and it was him and like a few assistants or something. And he came up, and I was, obviously waiting for them. And he was like, "Hi, I'm Euros Lyn, the director." I was like, "Yeah, I know," because all I could think of was his Doctor Who work. And I was just like, "Yeah, I know. Just have a wander around, do what you want to do. I'm here if you need me." And that was it. Because they were going to, as well, at one point, the corridor, the gallery, they were like, "Oh, do you mind if we repaint it a completely different colour? We'll paint it back afterwards." And I was like, "Well, as long as you put it back afterwards, fine." Anyway, they didn't do that in the end. They just turned the fire exit into an office. But yeah, so that was Euros Lyn. I just like, I couldn't help it. I just went, "Yeah, I know."
Funny.
And he looked a bit shocked. Anyway, oh my god, I just stepped on something again. Oh my god, what is going on under this table? There's something sharp on the floor. Sorry, everybody. Oh my god,
I'm enjoying it.
I think, yeah, it's usually you that's doing these kind of things.
Change, it's not me.
God, there's something sharp. Don't know what it is. It's like pins on the floor or something. Anyway. Right, I'm going to keep
just
really
looking
still.
at him. I know who he is, yeah.
He's directed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen him around.
Yeah, probably.
Seen him around.
What are we talking about? Right, Unquiet Dead. Let's get on to it. So there's a nice pre-title sequence. I love these pre-title sequence because it's the only like little cliffhanger that you get. And we are in Victorian times in a funeral parlour. And you get this zombie old lady as the pre-title sequence. So something strange is going on. But it's written quite light in that Mr. Sneed is like, "Oh, we got another one." So that sort of sets the tone of the episode. I quite like that. And you can get an action figure of zombie Gelf lady. They had figures out at the time.
Of course they
get
did.
her. I haven't got her.
You know what? When she was cast in that role, I bet she never thought she'd be an action figure.
No, exactly. What a great thing. That's another perk of being cast in Doctor Who at this time. You get to be an action figure. Not many shows you get to be an action figure. And we've got, I was going to say Clothes Watch. Rose gets dressed up because it's history. Don't see a wardrobe room though.
No, it's mentioned.
Yeah, it's quite rare that you see another room in the TARDIS in this time, which is a shame because, again, I just don't like, and this is lit, it's really lit, really green at the beginning of this, quite dark. It changes from episode to episode, I feel.
This is a really weird way that they've placed the cameras in this one as well. You can tell they're struggling with how to work with it. Because they're all like, it's like just their heads with like bits of like TARDIS around them. Like, he's cut out, she's cut out, they're all a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not obviously they just need to land, but it's all sort of shaking around a lot. And I just feel like it's too dark, it's too green. And it does feel quite small and closed in a way. But I think, like I say, they're trying to get used to doing that. And we're in Victorian Cardiff.
Where was this shot? I was trying to work it out.
So this is Swansea, all the outside stuff.
Is it in Swansea?
It's Swansea because actually I was watching some of the commentary of it and the director was saying about, I think the buildings in Cardiff are a bit too modern because they were all sort of 1900
I thought
something
it was
or other.
back, to be honest. So I'm wondering where in Swansea it was.
Yeah, somewhere in Swansea, all that stuff. But when we get to the theatre and we've got Charles Dickens, I mean, there's so much going on in this 45 minutes. We've got Charles Dickens, our first sort of celebrity historical is what you sort of call these ones.
Yeah.
Of the new lot. We haven't had we didn't have that in Classic for a long time. I mean, we've had a few people pop up, haven't we? But this is great.
If we go really far back, we used to have it all the time.
I feel like the last proper celebrity historical was like H.G. Wells, maybe.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. But we used to have it all the time. Like every week was something.
Well, sort of more in the 60s,
70s, yeah.
60s and 70s, yeah. Mainly sort of the 60s historicals. So it's nice to come back to that kind of thing. And Charles Dickens, this is quite interesting because it's Simon Callow playing Charles Dickens. And he's known for playing Charles Dickens. He's got his own one-man show, I think, of Charles Dickens. So he's played Charles Dickens in a lot of things already. Right. So it's kind of great casting. Yeah. And it's supposed to be Charles Dickens sort of towards the end of his life as well, where he's going round and he's lecturing on his books and stuff. So he comes out in the theatre and he's about to, tell everyone a Christmas Carol. I mean, I know he wrote it, but to know a whole novel off by heart is quite a lot, I think. It's like, doing like an audiobook now, but live without a script. I think that's amazing. Well done, Charles Dickens, for doing that. I read Christmas Carol just before Christmas, actually. I found it quite hard going because it's not like the Muppet one. Well, it's not. It's a bit more.
The Muppet one's really accurate to the original stuff.
No, it is, but the actual, like, the prose of Charles Dickens, because that's the only Charles Dickens I've read so far. I do have one to read, actually, on my list.
Don't you?
But I did Christmas Carol, and even though that's a shorter one, I just found, like, the word, it's really, you have to really concentrate. So I don't know if I would have bought a ticket to go and see him just read the whole thing. That's a long night. And this is filmed, talking of locations, this is the new theatre in Cardiff.
Yeah, you can see that, yeah. Now you've said it, yeah.
Which, ladies and gentlemen, as well as Charles Dickens, Sarah has actually been on that stage many times. Would you like to tell everyone about being on the same stage there, literally?
I played a pig. Played a pig in Shrek.
Weren't you in Singing in the Rain as well?
Singing in the Rain, yeah.
Wasn't that the one where all the sort of water, like, congealed and... Didn't it go really slippery? Because
it's always slippery, yeah.
I swear I remember seeing it. There's a contraption there where all the rain comes down and Singing in the Rain, and it sort of all congeals in that sort of gutter thing, and it all gets like really slippery.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember it. It was so long ago because I've done Singing in the Rain twice, and it was slippery. I do remember that, but
So you know what the view is like for Charles Dickens out there. You have literally stood right there on that location, everybody.
And I have been a pig. Which is a great picture. Yeah. Maybe we'll share the pig picture.
Yeah, send me it and I'll put it up.
I'll send it you now. I'll find it.
So it's a really great setup. You get to see, obviously you get to see Gwyneth and Mr. Sneed. And they're out there trying to find the zombie lady. And then you've got Charles Dickens. And then you've got the Doctor and Rose landing. All in the space of, the first few minutes. It all sets it up really well. Again, the comedy is sort of there as well. The Doctor and Rose have quite a relaxed relationship already, because then he's like, she's like, I don't care where we are, and then he's like, we're in Cardiff. She's like, oh. I should have mentioned this in the Rose episode, which I forgot. I've written a note now. It's only recently, I feel, come to light, sort of last year, when Rachel from S Club 7's book came out. It was pretty much between her and Billie Piper for the part of Rose.
Really?
Yeah, she says in her book that she was so close to getting it. I just can't imagine Rachel from S Club 7 being Rose. It just wouldn't be the same. I don't know. You wouldn't get that same sort of feeling.
I can imagine it. It'd just be different. I can imagine it, but it would be different. But in the same way that, like, all the other people they talked about playing the Doctor, I can imagine them playing the Doctor, but it wouldn't be that Doctor.
No, I don't think it would have been as... what is the word? I don't know. I don't think the connection to the audience would have been there as much if it was Rachel from S Club 7, but I would love to see it. But then also we would have been robbed of Rachel's solo career, so I think it all worked out for the best. Yeah, what's great is all the stuff with Charles Dickens as well. And obviously, I reckon Mark Gatiss knows all his Victorian ghost stories. He knows his Charles Dickens. So it's sort of intertwined some of the stories. So obviously he's saying about Christmas Carol and Marley's ghost. And that's, of course, when we've got the Gelth turn up and you got the spirits and everything. Very Dickensian ghost stories type stuff anyway. I think that looks really good. And like the effects are really great as well. What's really nice is Rose stepping out of the TARDIS for the first time and you see the footprint in the snow. And this is her first time into history.
I like that it's her that leads. She's going into history. That's quite a nice little moment as well. And
again, because I'm going to be doing this for a bit, comparing it to the classic series. But, we never had just those little moments. We just never had. You just had, hi, Dodo, you're the new companion. And then she'd be like, oh, where are we now then? Oh, wow, we're in history. Right. Whereas Rose is like savouring. She's like, wow, this is unbelievable. And there's that scene in the TARDIS where she's like, this is history, it only should happen once, and we're here. And you have that. And it's sort of telling the new audience as well, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of what it's about. And you can do that because you've got 45 minutes. You've got a bit longer. You can have those moments. You need to have those moments.
Rose quickly goes off on her own, though, already in this. So the Doctor and Charles Dickens sort of end up going off, don't they? And then Rose is running after Gwyneth and Sneed. Gwyneth is great, played by Eve Miles.
I was trying to work out who it was, and now you've said it's Eve Miles. I was like, yeah, that is who it is. That's what was been bugging me. I thought it was. God, her name's gone out of my head. From Ab Fab.
From Ab Fab?
From Absolutely Fabulous. And she was the thing in Atkinson in the...
Oh, Julia Sawala.
Yeah.
They're very different.
Oh, yeah, it's just the same face. I knew it wasn't. But you know when I saw her face initially, but I knew it wasn't. But I was like, is that Julia Sawala? And I was like, oh, no, it's not. And I couldn't think who it was. But yeah, now you said it's Eve Miles. I'm like, yes, it is.
I think my favourite scene in this is Charles Dickens in the carriage with the Doctor, and the Doctor's like, oh my God, yeah, I'm a fan, and all of that
whole
stuff.
Thing, that's great.
And actually, that is where, I was criticising Christopher Eccleston for his sort of, he couldn't do the happy over the top stuff, but that is actually a really great scene. He plays that really well, the excitement and everything. It doesn't come off forced. In this one, I think it's pitched perfectly.
It never really comes across too forced. So I'm not that I felt it, but I thought that was a good scene as well.
That's great.
Natural.
It's just when, like, last week when he was like, dancing and smiling and stuff, it just looked really weird in The End of the World. But here, it doesn't. It actually works quite well. This is one of my favourite of this series, actually. And I don't think people talk about this one very much. They all end up at the funeral parlour, and we find out there's like a rift in time and space here. Did you find it sort of creepy, scary? What were you thinking as the story was going on?
I mean, look, I didn't think it was creepy or scary because time is different now.
But if you're thinking like this is pitched on a Saturday night for like a family audience, zombie stuff, like zombie a lady.
A little bit, yeah. I think it was pitched well for a family audience. It's not over the top creepy or scary. You can tell that they're zombies. No one's going to have like strange conversations with their children about people coming back to life in coffins, This feels family.
The only bits I think played well and a bit creepy was the conversation between Gwyneth and Rose, which is another great moment where you've got the comparison of the two characters, the modern one and the historical one. And Rose is sort of looking down on Gwyneth, or assuming that because she's a maid, she's not happy, and she's really not
educated, and she's all this stuff. Yeah,
but actually, she's like, no, it's great. This is, I'm really lucky, and I have, there's no problem there. I like that. And then when you sort of get Gwyneth's sort of second sight thing coming in, I thought that was a really good moment. That's a little bit creepy. That's that was creepy. That sort of because you start to wonder, is she good or not? And you notice the Doctor's picked up on it early because you have that whole tea thing. Yes, I think that's a bit later on when they're doing. Yes, yeah.
No, it's before because she goes, "Oh, tea, how you like it?" And it hovers on him a bit longer, and you see that he's like, "Hmm." And then they have that conversation. That's why he comes up and goes, "Because you've had this." So he's obviously that's happened, and he's picked up on something. Obviously, then. And
so it turns out, the girl, they've been displaced because of Time War, or they're fleeing from the Time War. Yeah. So we get a mention there.
Yeah, Doctor keeps quiet on that one. Rose gives him a dirty look and he keeps quite quiet, doesn't he?
So they want to come through and they want to just inhabit dead bodies. And this is so this shows off the Doctor's alienness, because obviously Rose is like, well, you can't do that. That's just terrible. And the Doctor's like, why not? That's a great recycling idea. That feels like a sort of a Tom Baker Fourth Doctor moment where he's just suddenly very, very alien and sees things in a different way and reminds you that he's not human and that he sees a different picture of things.
Yeah. And also this idea of like, I guess he's trying to correct his wrongs of his past a little bit. He's almost overshadowed by his own past, like, because they talk about, us smaller civilizations were wipes nothing, almost his own guilt. Like, well, I can fix this. He doesn't even think to see of the consequences of it.
Yeah, I don't think he's genuinely suspicious, though. I think he has taken them on face value. I think he's.
But I don't think
he
thinks beyond it, because he just takes it as like what they're saying, and he's like, he doesn't think beyond any potential other thing they could be saying, because maybe his own guilt.
Can I just ask, what do you know about the Time War and stuff? What do you actually know already, and what is a mystery to you? Just so we all know, because obviously at the time things are going out, nobody knows or has anything really about what we've been told.
All I know is it was a big war and everyone died, apart from him. And I can't remember how it started. I don't know how it started or why it started or anything. I just know that he was like one of the last survivors. But like, there was a big war of the Time Lords, and I think other people were involved or other things. Obviously, he's the last one. That's literally all I know.
Okay, just so I know as well.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Well, we'll go as we own.
I remember, because obviously the 50th, there was like the filming of things, but they filmed all I remember was they filmed the war, but I don't remember what they filmed. So I've seen like obviously the stills that we've talked about, that you and me, and because of things, and so I've seen the pictures of that, but it's just been of people looking scared, right? So that's all I know.
Okay, let's take it as we don't know as we go along in these episodes, and we'll try and piece it together, the clues that we're given.
Yeah, well, so far it's that there was a war, and now I've learnt that potentially, or maybe not, other things were
other races being caught up in this war. I think the Gelf, like the effect and everything, is quite good, because it can't be too sort of alien-y. It sort of needs to fit in as if Charles Dickens is going to write a ghost story, and it's gonna, it's gonna fit in.
Like genuinely angelic. So then, when it turns to not angelic, it feels like oh shit.
Well, they're sort of through the gas as well and everything as well. So that's quite clever to tie it in with what was available at the time as well. I didn't realise. Yeah, I can't remember. I think we are late 1800s, aren't we? So there is like gas lamps and stuff around. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know the invention of when gas lamps were and stuff, but if it's quite a new thing or not, or I don't know. You never think of like Victoria. You all just think of them having like a candle and that's it.
Yeah. But I mean, they had it in homes, they had gas, and it started, I guess. Yeah.
And that's just so weird. Does that mean they had like? Oh, this sounds stupid. No, like gas plumbers and gas. Phone the gas man in Victorian time. I don't know. Just the notion
I don't think phone the gas man as such, but there will have been a gas thing. Yeah, I guess not every home had it. You had, in the same way that, like, because in also we're talking like towards the end. So you're thinking of Charles Dickens stories where you have got Scrooge and his candle, but this is at the end of his life.
Yeah, I suppose we're nearer. Are we? Because I'm just going by. So Downton Abbey was 1912. That's my basis to know of history. That's the Titanic. So we're about.
Mark's basing everything off. I went down to things happen in Downton Abbey. Right. Okay.
If you need to know your history, right? Downton Abbey is the line in the sand, right? And we all know that was 1912 because that's the same day as the Titanic happened. So I think this is like. I'm not looking any of this up. I'm just going off my. What's in my
knowledge
head.
Of Downton Abbey, right?
I think we're like 10, 15 years before Downton Abbey.
Yeah, I think it was. No, they said the year 1860.
Well, no, because he's supposed to land 80s, but he lands later on by accident. He gets it wrong for some reason.
He does say the year though, doesn't he? Because he holds up a paper and he says it's this year, and she goes, "I don't care," and he's like, "But it's this year."
Okay, I'm looking it up, everyone, just so we have clarity on when this is set. 1869.
There we are. I said it was 1860 something.
Okay, so we're way off Downton Abbey then.
Yeah.
1869.
And Downton Abbey, they're not all walking around with candles as such.
Well, no.
Some areas they might be, but like the lower parts, because in order to gas an entire house or a thing, it would cost a lot of money.
Okay, so gas lamps were first developed in the late 1790s. So we are 1869. So We're nearly like 100 years already of gas lamps. Oh, you've gone. Where have you gone? Oh, Sarah's gone for some water. She's gone to light the gas lamp, everybody. It's getting dark.
That cream-egg ice cream was catching up with me.
So yeah, actually, we've had gas a long time. This whole conversation has been completely pointless because it's not a new invention. That's interesting to know, everyone. This is what Doctor Who does, everybody. You learn historical facts as you watch. That's what I love about historical.
And we've learned that Mark bases everything on Downton Abbey. Oh,
do you know what I would love to do? I'm going to tell everyone this. Oh, this would be amazing. I keep meaning to do this. I want to make a list of, like, starting with Downton Abbey, all, like, historical TV dramas, right? So you got, like, The Crown, be a good one, Downton Abbey, I don't know.
Why they fit on a timeline?
Like the Tudors, and put them all on a timeline and watch them in order of, like, time. And, you know, so you've got, like, Jeeves and Wooster would be in there, which is, like, the 20s or whatever, and you'd get all the episodes. You might mix up the episodes as well, depending on when they're all set. I think that would be really cool to do. Or you could just do it with just the royal family, would be quite good, because you've got the Crown, you've got the Tudors, you've got Victoria. I'd love to do that at some point.
What Mark does in his free time, everyone.
Oh, and you could get all the Charles Dickens adaptations, all the TV ones, and put them in there as well, in, like, history.
Do they count?
Well, yeah, because they're set in history.
At, like, history things, or are you looking at fictional?
No, fictional and history. Well, you could do a history one and you could do a fictional one. You can mix it up, but I do like all of them together. Where are we? Oh, so the Gelth. We're talking about the Gelth. And this is great about Doctor Who as well. I love the science and the history ones that sort of mix it all up. We're not like pure historical. And the sort of ones where, you know, it sort of explains a few things. So obviously Charles Dickens is getting inspiration for his ghost stories and stuff. And it's plausible, you know, people that say, oh, you've seen like a apparition or whatever in Victorian times. It's that kind of look. Well, they have a seance and Gwyneth is like, yep, I'm ready for this. This is me. And the reason that she is sort of telepathic or second sight or whatever is because she's grown up in that area and there is a rift in time and space in Cardiff.
Yeah.
Which is quite important, which we'll come back to at some point, I think. So this is really sort of sets a lot of things up in this episode. And this is why the Gelth have come here, because this is where the weak spot is, where they can sort of push through. And suddenly they go bad, and we know they go bad because they turn different colour. Because they go red, which you have to do.
You go from blue to red. And we're like, oh no, they're naughty now.
And they literally say on the audio commentary, we're like, we had to show that they'd gone bad, so we changed the colour. They literally did that, and you have to do that. And this is when the Doctor's like, oh no. And we get a sort of, you know, this would be like a cliffhanger if it was a classic episode, you know.
Yeah.
With all the zombies coming out. And I think some of those zombies are pretty scary. There's a guy with a massive beard that looks like Ram. He is terrifying. He's absolutely terrifying.
You know who he reminded me of? You know the comedian Joe Wilkinson?
No, I don't.
You would if you saw him. It
Okay.
looks a bit like him with a long beard.
I'm just looking him up. Oh, yes. Yeah. But no, yeah, I think they're pretty sort of creepy. And Charles Dickens saves the day. Well, actually, no, two hero moments in this episode. Remember for the Doskers, everyone. We've got Gwyneth really like stepping up and doing her thing. And unfortunately, she gets killed because I think, well, the Doctor says he thinks she was probably dead like straight away, but there is still something sort of there. And Charles Dickens has a hero moment because he sort of runs out and is this sort of quite cowardly character. But then he turns around and he notices the gas, turn up the gas, get them out the gas lamps.
I would argue that Gwyneth's moment is more misunderstood guidance than hero. I mean, yeah, she doesn't go to sacrifice herself because she's already dead. Like, she goes hoping to help them, but like you say, she's always been talking to them. So if anything, she's helping these things that have been talking to her whole life.
Yeah, I suppose so. But to put herself forward.
It'd be like if you had someone, if you had a friend that, or a neighbour, right, and you've talked to them your whole life, you knew them, and then they really needed your help, and you were like, I've known this person forever, I can help them, you would help them. And it's not indicated that she will die because of it.
No one knows that's going to happen. Otherwise, because Rose doesn't want her to do it, and then she's like, "Well, I know my own mind. I want to do this. This is what I want to do." She's like, "I'm not stupid. I know what's the deal is." I was going to say as well, Gwyneth. I'm still looking for my new Edith, and I don't know. Gwyneth doesn't really. It's very close. It's very Edith-like. She's very Edith-like. There's just something.
Not last week. You said last week. What's the name? Was the blue woman?
No, I'm just trying to find someone that is, and nobody is.
Every week you've got a new Edith.
No, I'm just saying they're not. They're not new Edith. They could be. They're potential new Edith. I haven't found. The search for the new Edith has started. The auditions are taking place here in each episode. So Raffaello last week wasn't a new Edith. Gwyneth is a possible new Edith, but I don't know. I don't like her as much as Edith. There's something. She's got the same sort of sensibility, but the creepiness isn't Edith-like, unfortunately. So she's a potential. She could be, but she's not.
The quest goes on.
The quest continues for a new Edith, everyone. And yeah, I mean, it's all sort of sorted out with the gas, and
it's all sorted out with the gas.
Yeah, and like Charles Dickens saves the day in a way. So yeah, I just really like this one. I feel like if I'm going to watch an episode from this series, I usually choose this one.
Oh, really?
Just because it's quite fun. It's quite an easy watch. It's weird that it's a Christmassy one, and it was on in like Easter time. But
like I said, I just never think of it. I think other than the fact it started with the Charles, I never thought of it as a Christmassy one.
Well, I suppose wintry with the snow and everything, I suppose. But I like this kind of story. I like the sort of Victorian ghost story. I like that kind of setting as well. So maybe that's what it is as well. And we don't have tons of characters. I mean, the structure of these episodes, I think we need to just get used to as well, because you've got really you've got Doctor and Rose and then 3 other characters. It's quite a small cast compared to what we've had, in other stories previously, because you've had 4 episodes to fill up and there's all these other extra side characters and stuff. But here it is it feels quite contained, but it still feels like a good, entertaining story.
This feels like a good, complete story. And so I did enjoy it more than last week. And
as I say, Dr. Rose, great in this one. It's always nice when the companions sort of dress up for the time. And it's funny, the Doctor never does.
He has some more recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, that is a bit of a change. But at this point, he's still just, the Doctor needs to stay in his outfit for whatever reason.
So you recognise him? Maybe it's just that at this point. Maybe they're just like, we want the audience to know who he is. And
we've all learned about gas and gas.
We've all learned about gas.
Everything. Oh, that's what I was going to say as well. Just talk about Charles Dickens.
What are you going to say now?
We watched the David Copperfield, didn't we, at the cinema? The new one. I recommend that one. That's a good adaptation of The
Life and Times, was it, of David Copperfield?
Yes, the new one with it's got Peter Capaldi in it. Well, it's a different, sort of more modern interpretation, but I do love a Charles Dickens adaptation. All the BBC ones are absolutely amazing. There's usually a load of Doctor Who actors in them.
Obviously, the Muppets, Christmas Carol.
Is that your favourite sort of adaptation? I mean, do you have a favourite Dickens story?
Favourite Dickens story? Oliver.
Oh, okay. See, I'm not so keen on Oliver. I don't think I've not seen the film. I don't think I've actually seen any Olivers.
Have you seen the musical?
No.
As long as he needs me. Oh, it's
that one doesn't appeal to me. That's funny, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's tragic. Consider yourself. Not doing it for you, Mark?
No.
Maybe you should add that to your list. Mark has to watch Oliver.
Okay, I'll find an Oliver. What, the musical one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a classic. It is a classic. It's dark.
Oh, no, which one have I seen? Oh, yeah, no, I have seen an Oliver. I have seen a BBC one. That's one with Fagin and all of that in it.
Yeah, they have done like straight versions of it.
Yes, I've seen a non-musical version. I've seen the 70s BBC one. That's very good. Yes, and it is very dark.
Oh, you'll have to watch the musical, Mark. It's a classic.
Yeah, that one's good. I quite like...
You have to watch the musical. It is a classic.
Okay. I quite like a David Copperfield. That's good. Yeah, there's loads of great Charles Dickens stories. I don't think Charles Dickens in real life was actually a very nice person, I think.
Well, he wrote... I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe he was a bit... He wrote a lot of his stories are around
prisons,
like good and evil, not good and evil, but like actually just not linked to what I'm just about to say, just a completely separate thing. But I have got a quiz round coming up that is made up or real Charles Dickens characters.
Oh, that'll be good.
Yeah, I've got a load of names, and you have to guess whether it's a Charles Dickens character or whether it's something I've made up.
We should do that on here for everybody.
That's not really Doctor Who, is it?
It's Charles Dickens. This is our chance. Unquiet Dead is our chance to talk about Charles Dickens. That's why I'm talking about Charles Dickens.
I have to dig it out.
H.G. Wells is still my favourite Doctor Who writer cameo. So
it's a great one. Yeah, that one's still my favourite. It's a great. Like, he was great. I loved it.
Although Simon Callow is really great.
Oh yeah, just how H.G. Wells was put into it is just brilliant. So
yeah,
it was really unexpected. That's why I loved it.
Well, there we go. That's The Unquiet Dead, a success. Well, next though is our first two-parter.
Oh,
talking about the format. So everybody, we're going to do, although they're all sort of individually titled episodes, there are two-part stories in within this series, and we're going to do them as one. The two episodes is Aliens of London and World War. I put World War II, but I think it's called World War III.
Right.
Aliens of London and World War III are the story titles. So yeah, so maybe a bit more story in these ones to cover. And the equivalent, just under a four-parter, really, if you think about it. It's the two 45-minute episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, not my favourite, actually, to be honest. Probably my least favourite of the series. And these were the first ones filmed as well, I think.
You haven't talked about how you watched this one.
Oh, yeah, this is weird because I'm still at home for the Easter holidays in the middle of June. So I must have had like a whole month off because I've watched Rose.
Were you working at what's it called?
I remember I came back from the co-op in time for this one.
Yeah.
So I've been off for like 3 weeks in a row because I've watched all of these at home so far in the middle of uni. It's the Easter holidays, so we're watching roughly exactly 20 years away when they were on. We're still sort of pretty much the same time.
God, that's weird, isn't it?
So yeah, I definitely watched, and I think I watched the next week's as well. So that's 4 weeks. I must have had a whole month off. But no, I remember absolutely sitting watching with my family on this one as well. So did you see the Next Time trailer for it?
I did a bit, yeah.
Yeah, so you sort of know. Maybe a little.
I can't remember it.
Oh, okay, that's good. Anyway, in the meantime, everyone, until next week, you can find us on the socials at Two Watch Who. I'm just going to say that, the socials.
The socials.
And at patreon.com/Two Watch Who. It might not be /Two Watch Who. It's on Patreon. Two Watch Who is what it is.
That's the one.
See you next week then for our two-parter. Bye.
Bye.
To Watch Who.